Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, October 17th, 2024 Marlington Local School District Board of Education meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Josh Hagan.
Here.
Karen Humphreys.
Here.
Kathy Krupko.
Here.
Mark Ryan.
Here.
Jonathan Swift.
Here.
Reading of the mission statement, Mr. Hagan.
In collaboration with staff, community, parents, and students, the Marlington Local School District will develop lifelong learners who understand and apply knowledge and demonstrate excellence in pursuing the highest standards with effective intervention to challenge every student.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections to the meeting agenda? None? Okay. Adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the following agenda for October 17th, 2024?
Second.
Jonathan. Okay. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Mr. Hagan.
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys.
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Thank you. Special presentation.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to the October board meeting. Tonight we get to honor our Students of the Month for actually September, October Students of the Month, kind of how we look at it. So we're going to go ahead and start with our high school and have Mr. Farrell come up for Elk Students of the Month.
Good evening. I have the privilege of introducing two of our high school students as Elks Teens of the Month. When I call your name, if you'd please come stand up here while I read a short bio about you. Our first Elk Teen of the Month is Hannah McConnell. Hannah is the daughter of Christy and Sean McConnell. She is president of the class of 2025, Vice President of the National Honor Society, and Vice President of the Tri-M Music Honor Society. Hannah is the Color Guard and Winter Guard Section Leader for the Marching Dukes, a member of Duke Street Select Vocal Ensemble, the Drama Dukes, and the Carnation City Players. She is an MHS representative for the Stark County Youth Leadership Academy, a peer leader in the Sources of Strength, and a member of the yearbook staff. Hannah enjoys music, being social, and staying active. When she's not busy with school activities, she likes to write poetry. Following graduation, Hannah plans to attend college pursuing a degree in music therapy. Hannah's teachers say she is an exceptional role model to all students in the building. She is such a positive influence on everyone around her, staff included. She is a leader and does not hesitate to take charge when needed. Hannah always has a smile on her face and is always looking to make an impact. Congratulations, Hannah. Our other Elks Teen of the Month is Dakota Albertoni. Dakota, come forward, please. Dakota is the son of Betsy Libby and Tony Albertoni. He is president of National Honor Society, secretary of the class of 2025, and a member of the Tri-M Music Honor Society. Dakota is sergeant-in-arms and a fifth-year percussionist for the Marching Dukes. He is an MHS representative for the Stark County Youth Leadership Academy, a peer leader in the Sources of Strength, and a member of the yearbook staff. Dakota has enjoyed volunteering the past 11 years at the Alliance Farmers Market, where he is the assistant to the market manager and has been assistant to the vegetable judge at the Stark County Fair for the past 3 years. He is a member of the Drama Dukes and has acted and volunteered with the Carnation City Players. In his free time, he studies film and television history. He especially loves silent films as well as the Marx Brothers. He currently works on his parents' farm, Blackbird Meadows Farm. After graduation, Dakota plans to continue his academic career in college and pursue a career as a writer. The staff at MHS describes Dakota as a remarkable young man with incredible talents and a terrific work ethic. He's also a positive role model for everyone around him and goes to great lengths to make MHS a better place. Congratulations, Dakota. Next up, middle school principal, Mr. Rizzoletti.
Good evening. We'd like to introduce our middle school students of the month, and first up we have Carissa Miller. Carissa is the daughter of Cheryl and Jason Miller. In addition to being an outstanding student, she plays soccer for the Marlington Select Girls team that recently won their league title. She also helps the school as an office aide and was proud to be named to that leadership role. This is what her teachers have to say about her. Carissa is a kind and conscientious young lady who always tries her best. She's a great student who works hard and is also willing to help others. Carissa is always taking advantage of every opportunity in class. She pays attention and remains focused, never being disruptive, which helps contribute to the positive learning environment around her. Carissa is doing an amazing job in her 8th grade year, and we're very proud of her. Congratulations to Carissa Miller. Next up from the middle school, we have Lincoln Beachy. Lincoln is the son of Carol and Matthew Beachy. In his free time, Lincoln enjoys playing soccer. This is what his teachers have to say about him. Lincoln exemplifies the values of respect, responsibility, and leadership that we strive to instill in our students. His assignments are consistently completed with thoughtfulness and care, setting a wonderful example for his peers. It's these qualities that make him a truly deserving candidate for this recognition. Lincoln's a very hard worker. He always comes to class prepared and ready to learn. He's kind and never says a bad thing about anybody. No matter who he's grouped with, students are always excited to work with him. Lincoln is a superstar student. He thinks outside the box, and he's diligent in his work, not stopping until he has the most amazing product. And his art is next level. Obviously, that one was by Ms. Quinnis. When asked to contribute to class discussions, he offers insightful perspectives that enrich the learning environment for all. He's also very kind and well-mannered and has a strong work ethic. We're very thankful that we get to have him in class this year. Congratulations to Lincoln Beachy. Thank you. And next up is Mrs. Weber from Lexington Elementary.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of introducing our 5th grade Kiwanis Student of the Month for Lexington Elementary, Mr. Aiden May. Aiden is the son of Dallas and Jessica May, and his teachers had a few things to say about him. Aiden has started the year strong with a laser-like focus on his work and on his lessons in class. He can be counted on to answer questions, turn in his best work every time, and participate in class discussions and partner work respectfully. He has even helped other students to be more focused on their lessons as well and encourages others to do their best. Aiden's been a good role model for all students, follows Duke Pride expectation, and shows kindness to others. Aiden, your teachers are so proud of you for making good choices, and they know that you're going to continue to succeed this year. A couple of other things that we want to say about Aiden. His favorite subjects are math and science. He has 2 dogs, a German Shepherd and a Boxer. What are their names? Bucky and Dax. Good names. When he grows up, he's interested in being part of the NFL or the MLB. And a couple things that he does and does very well, we know, is that he plays football and baseball, and he was also a great wrestler. Congratulations, Aiden May. Next up, Ms. Mort, Marlboro.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Marlboro Elementary's October Kiwanis Student of the Month, Bryce Ballman. Some things about Bryce from his teachers. Bryce is a 5th grade student at Marlboro who arrives in class each day ready to learn. He brings all of his materials to class with him, focuses on the lesson, and volunteers to share his thoughts during coursework. He is a great friend to others and is always willing to help a classmate in need. Bryce is a wonderful example of a Duke Pride leader. Great work, Bryce. You're going to accomplish great things this year in 5th grade. Continue doing your best. A little bit more about Bryce. His favorite subject in school is language arts. Language arts seems to come easily for Bryce. He enjoys writing about anything he can think of. Some other special things about Bryce's family. Mom and Dad are Melody and Larry. Austin is his brother and a senior at Marlington. One of the things that they like to do together as a family is to go to the beach. This is a very relaxing time for everyone. Bryce's future plans. Bryce is considering being a basketball coach in his future. He would like to coach for the Chapel Basketball League. He would also like to go on a fishing trip with his family. In Bryce's free time, he likes playing basketball for the chapel, and he also enjoys playing video games, specifically Roblox. He enjoys the creative aspect of the game, and Bryce can build a whole town. And this is a fun activity he enjoys doing with his buddy Daniel. Congratulations, Bryce Ballman, Marlboro's Kiwanis Student of the Month for October. Next up, Mr. Spondile for Washington Elementary.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to present Kylie Battershell. I don't think Kylie could make it tonight. Nope, but I'm going to read about her anyway. So, Kylie, she's a great student, very kind, and works very hard in everything she does in and outside of the classroom. She's been wonderful to have in class this year. She's a quiet leader that is incredibly dependable. She always has a positive attitude and wears a smile on her face every day she comes to Washington. We are happy to have her in class, and we cannot wait to see what the rest of the year holds with her. A couple things about Kylie. Her favorite subject in school is history. She lives with her mom, her dad, and her sister. She has 7 pets. That includes 2 dogs, 2 cats, and 3 kittens that were just born about a month ago. Her dream job is to be a first grade teacher, which I think is pretty cool. She would like to live on a farm here in Ohio, and when she gets older, she'd like to visit Colorado. And something is interesting about Kylie, she plays softball, she takes hitting, pitching, and catching lessons, and in her free time, she likes to watch baseball, go on 4-wheeler rides, cook, and read. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I would like to thank all our parents and students of the month and grandparents and special friends. This is the time where if you want to break for your evening, we can before we start the formal part of the meeting, which will happen in about 1 minute.
Okay, invocation, Pastor Gary Bush.
Bow your head and pray with me if you would. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings that you've bestowed on us. We thank you for the opportunities that you give us, Lord. And I pray especially for this opportunity tonight for our board and administration, Lord, as they consider the many things that they have to deal with and part of the educational process. Lord, we realize that you are the giver of wisdom and you give us discernment, and I ask for that tonight as they make decisions about educating the children of this district. Heavenly Father, we just thank you. Thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your love. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. OSBA presentation, Mrs. Krupko?
It's been very quiet this month. They're getting ready for Capital Conference in November, so there's not a whole lot going on outside of that, other than just keep an eye on your the Ohio E&A. There's a lot of emails going out about charter programs and vouchers and all of that, so try to keep updated on those. And that's it.
Thank you. Okay, tonight we have our curriculum update with our curriculum director, Miss Renee Cayley. So we're going to have her come up here and give an update. As we talked about the last month, she was going to give an update on our report card, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. All right, good evening. So today we are going to do a quick overview of our school report card, which represents the information from last year. So it was just released in September. All right, just a quick reminder that the whole point behind a district report card or a building level report card is to give parents, communities, educators, and policymakers information about the performance of districts and schools. So we want to make sure we're celebrating our achievement and our successes, as well as identifying areas for improvement. I like the fact that it allows us just this clear and easily available report. For student performance, we look at, we use it to drive our local conversations on school improvement. But the big thing I want to say is that report cards are only one part of our data story, okay? So we utilize many pieces of data within the district, and we're getting even better with that. And the report card is one piece of that whole puzzle. A way that you can get to, if you want to look at our school report card, and then I'm going to break this into sections here, but this is what the site looks like. You go to reportcard.education.ohio.gov, and then you can put in any school district or any individual building, and you're able to go ahead and look at their school report card, either from a district level or a building. And then if you look here where it says view more data, you can click on that, and it's going to give you more data in each of the component areas. What we're going to do this evening is take a brief moment to go through each of those in regards to our district. But please note, we also have one of these for each of our 5 buildings as well. We're not going to go into those, or else we'd be here for a couple of hours. And I know as much as you would love that, we are going to just keep it short and sweet this evening. All right, so, So when we're looking 2 years ago, we transitioned to star ratings. If you remember, prior to that, there were letters. So we have an overall rating, and then we have ratings in the achievement component, progress, early literacy. We have also graduation and gap closing. And then as far as this year, we still have as report only the college, career, workforce, and military readiness component. So this is the last year we're being told that it's report only. It is supposed to go into effect for next year's report card. So, and if you look here, you will see the number of measures or the number of things that are used to determine that rating. So for example, in early literacy, you'll see there are 3 measures. So there are 3 things we're looking at to be able to get that star, okay? The overall rating is on a scale of 1 through 5, and you can have a half-star increment. And we've just went over the 5 components that are rated. Those are only in full stars. So the only thing that could be the half a star is your actual overall rating. Okay, so we're going to dive into our actual district level report card. So our overall rating this year was a 3.5. Anything with 3 stars or above means that we are meeting the state standards. So I'm pleased to say that we are still meeting the state standard here with our overall district rating for the 23-24 school year. Last year, we did have 4 stars, so we did drop a half a star. This was I don't want to say similar across the county, but we had multiple districts across the county drop in progress and gap closing, and we're going to talk about that a little bit as well, because when we're talking specifically about progress, we lost about 13 complete stars across the county. So we were not the only ones that dipped in that area. So our overall rating was a 3.5. When we break down into the achievement component, we did receive a 3 star. So once again, we are meeting the state standard here. The achievement component measures student academic achievement using our Ohio State test. So in grades 4 through 8, we're looking at our math and ELA, and then grades 5 and 8, we are looking at the science state test that we take. And then we're also looking at the grades 3 math and ELA. And then at the high school, those are your end of course exams that we take, the end of course exams, the EOCs that we take in specific subject areas. So this is strictly how did our students perform on those state tests. And then here's how we get our actual performance index. So there's a little bit of math involved. If you look at the right-hand side, that's going to show you the different achievement levels that students can obtain on those state tests, starting with obviously untested. We don't want any kiddo to go untested, but if they were to, we get no point values for them. Then we have limited, basic, proficient, accomplished, advanced, and advanced plus. If you notice, as you move up in the achievement level, the points for that level increases as well. Does that make sense? So the beauty of that is that as we're having these conversations with teachers and we're looking at data and saying, how can we continue to grow our students, even our students who are identified as gifted, even our high achieving students, it matters, especially on our report card, that we are providing those resources and those avenues for our students to grow, for all of our students to grow. And you can see here what you do then is you add up those total points received. It comes to an 85.3, and then you divide that by the maximum district performance index score, the maximum points we could have scored, which was a 109.3, and that's where you get your performance index at the 78.1%. Just a little piece of knowledge, our gifted students who are on an accelerated pathway, the bonus of that to us as a district, there are many bonuses, but one is that if I am a student who maybe, let's say I'm a 3rd grade student, but I am advanced placed into 4th grade mathematics, and I'm taking the 4th grade mathematics test, and I score proficient, it will automatically bump me to accomplished because I'm taking an advanced level class and taking that corresponding assessment. So that's why you see the advanced plus. That would only be for students that are in advanced coursework that score in the advanced level. They would then bump up to the advanced plus. Okay. Here are our achievement performance indicators. These are report only. So this will show you, overwhelmingly, we do have some work to do. This is straight up, how did our students perform? The percentage of students that reached proficient or greater. What we have done, just to be transparent with the board, we have already had discussions as an entire A team. We've also had conversations with myself and building level principals, and then as well as with teachers in regards to, let's talk about what is working and let's talk about some practices that maybe are not working and how can we change that. Ideally, the closer to 80%, the better. We want to reach at least 80% because that's where that proficiency level is. Yes?
What explains the drop-off? It looks like in mathematics, in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we're scoring relatively high. And then all of a sudden 6th grade comes, and 6th, 7th, and 8th, the math scores go down.
There are a variety of factors. So I can tell you one of the things, we now have a math curriculum, K to 5. So we should start seeing an increase in our scores in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade because our students were in year 3 of implementation. So we do want to see that increase. Hopefully, we're going to see the trickle up effect, I call it, because now these students are having a stronger foundation in their foundational mathematics skills. So they're going to be coming to our middle school when the content is continuing to increase in rigor, that they will have those foundational skills to be able to attempt and to attack those higher level thinking skills. But we also have had conversations around, sometimes it's, did somebody go out on maternity leave, or did we have a medical leave or something? If we don't have a teacher and there's a substitute, sometimes those can influx performance as well, right? I mean, so that's why sometimes, like I say, this is a snapshot. I like to look at trends as well. We have some of the trend data is showing us trending upward, which is a great thing. But so that, to me, Mr. Swift, is what I would say primarily is the responsibility of having that K-5 math curriculum.
Do you think that also corresponds to some of the COVID thing?
Not at this point.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't, because I feel like we have worked really hard to close that gap.
Okay.
And when you're looking at, sure, they may have missed some skills back then, but I feel like we've closed that gap.
Good. Okay.
And honestly, and even in a lot of our curriculum director meetings and those conversations, that's not even a conversation anymore at this point.
Why wouldn't you have even numbers all the way through there, like 3rd grade? Wouldn't you have 108 in both English and math?
Good question. It could be because we might have a special education student that has to test in ELA but not in mathematics, vice versa. So that could be the discrepancy in numbers. Good question. All right, so our progress component, this is where we did drop. Last year, we were actually at a 4, and we dropped to a 2. What this means is that we fell short of our student growth expectations. That is strictly on our value-added data that comes out from EVOS. So our students that are in grades 4 through 8, as well as our end-of-course exam students, when we look at value-added data, we are looking at how did those students progress, how did they grow in relation to other students with similar testing histories across the state. So let's say I'm a high-performing student, and traditionally I've been a high-performing student based upon my testing data. I'm going to be compared to other high-performing students across the state. If I'm a student who traditionally has struggled or it has lower performance on my assessments, I'm going to be grouped in a cohort with similar students. And so we're looking at the growth of our students compared to other students across the state. Let's just show you some. So this is an example of the progress component. So it might be a little bit difficult to see the key at the bottom, but when we are looking on here, we definitely want to see like this. It's a dark blue. It's hard to tell, but that's a dark blue, a light blue, and a green. When we see that dark blue, the light blue, and the green, that means that we have met or exceeded those growth expectations. When we look at the yellowish color, the red, and the gray, or excuse me, the yellowish color and the red, that means that we did not meet the growth expectations. And then the gray means value-added data is not available, and that's because we only give a 5th grade and an 8th grade science test. So we don't have tests in those other grade levels. And so once again, we've looked at this as a admin team. I've looked at this individually with building principals. We are also looking at this at building leadership teams and having those candid conversations about where are we growing, where are we not, and why.
So all of these are based on how the rest of the state is
Correct.
prepared?
Correct.
Would you be penalized if you, like, say you had 1 year where everybody progressed in our district, but then you plateau a little bit, and it doesn't look like you've done much, as the rest of the state did, so it could look bad because of that, possibly?
No, the way that it works, it's interesting because I had an opportunity to go down to North Carolina to EVOS, which is who does all the data analysis. And their data analysis is the same type of data analysis that's out there for like medical research and whatnot. And so their formula's way over my pay grade, but it's interesting to hear. You may see dips sometimes when you start a new program because teachers are getting to know that program. They won't necessarily know how to extend students as much. You may have a dip if you have a teacher who has changed grade levels, changed subject areas. The same thing like I said before. Maybe we have a substitute for a duration of time because the teacher was out for whatever reason, right? So all of those impact the growth of our students. And so once again, we've been having those conversations about let's look at these areas of success and determine what specific strategies are we using and let's replicate those across the district. We're relying heavily on some teacher leaders across the district to provide ongoing professional learning to their colleagues across the grade levels because we want to replicate those success stories. Gap closing, we have 6 different components in gap closing. We did receive a 3, which means we're meeting the state standards and closing the educational gaps for our students. If you look here, what it does is each student subgroup has its own interim and long-term goals in ELA, math, and graduation. There are many different subgroups. If subgroups have fewer than 15 students, they're not rated and they won't appear on our graph. So the ones that you see here are because we have 15 or more students that fall within these subgroups. We have all students are white, non-Hispanic, Hispanic, economically disadvantaged, multiracial, and students with disabilities. So you will see here that when you look at our ELA performance and our mathematics performance, we are exceeding the state standard. So that red dot is that state standard. When it comes to mathematics, ELA, we have met it in most situations except for our students with disabilities. And that same thing over here on the right with math, our students with disabilities, that subgroup, we did not meet the achievement indicator for them. And then the same thing when we're looking at growth, I'll show you the same 2 charts. And this is indicative of the 2 stars for our progress component. Our graduation rate, we have exceeded the state's standards. And then chronic absenteeism, this is the other piece where we are looking chronic absenteeism. If you remember from last year, it is any student who misses 10% or more of instructional time for any reason. Because the state says if they're not in school, they're not learning, which makes sense, right? So any reason, medically excused or not, each year this target number goes down. So we want to make sure that we are staying below what the state's target number is. I will tell you we've done a lot of work in this area across the district, and knowing that first we have to build relationships with kids and make them help them to enjoy school and want to come to school, build relationships with our families, and then help students to feel connected to school. So starting in kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade, our buildings and our building principals and the teams there have done an excellent job at making connections with students and being very intentional behind that work. Our early literacy component, we received 3 stars. And this is a measure of reading improvement and proficiency for students in kindergarten through 3rd grade. So if you look here, there are 3 components that make up this measure. It's our proficiency in 3rd grade reading. That makes up 40% of this component. We have our promotion to 4th grade that is based upon the 3rd grade reading guarantee, what percentage of our students were promoted to 4th grade. And then the final piece, improving K-3 literacy, and that is looking at how many students were deemed off track the prior year that moved to on track for this year. And then that makes up 25% of the component. So with all of those weighted percentages, we were at a 77.7%. And what I want to do is show you here, this, so what happens, that third part of that measure, when we're looking at those students that were previously off track, that moved to on track. So let's say, and I'm going to say this here because I think this is a safe place to say this, you know, I will tell you, I have a kindergarten class right now that 21 out of the 23 students, based upon their KRA data, says they are not ready for kindergarten. That is alarming to me. Because that teacher, our district, we have a lot of work to do. So what happens is, when we're looking at this data right here, this is saying that of our students from kindergarten to first grade, right, so these would have been kindergartners 2 years ago that moved to first grade last year, 79% of them moved to on track. Of our off-track students, same thing, that were in first grade 2 years ago, that moved to second grade last year, 52% of those students moved to on track. And so on and so forth as you go through this chart.
How does that compare to other districts?
It's very different. Some districts don't even have this measure because if they have less than 10% of their students coming in below grade level or like not ready for kindergarten based upon their KRA data, they don't even have this part of the measure. That's why, to me, it's so alarming when I'm looking at a class of 23 kids and 21 of them are saying, based upon educational data, they're not academically ready.
But could that be, I don't want to downplay that, but I'm thinking of our community. Could it be that a large portion of parents just don't have them in pre-K?
That is 100% what it is.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I mean, if you're getting them up, they're improving apparently, and you want them up to par. What, by first grade, second grade at the latest, maybe?
Yes, yeah. The research says that if they are not reading on grade level by third grade, the likelihood of them reading at grade level significantly decreases. We're doing the work.
We're doing it.
We 100% are doing the work. We're just seeing an increase in the number of students that are not prepared for kindergarten.
So Renee, in that number from year to year, it says percentage of previously off-track students. So if they were off-track originally, are they included in each consecutive year?
No.
If they're on track, then
Nope.
they don't include them?
They then move out of that data pool.
Okay.
So let's say we had 100 students. Out of those 100 students, 50 of them were off track. We go from kindergarten to first grade, and let's say 50% of them moved to on track. Now we only have 25.
Okay.
Right? So yes, they drop off of that number. So we could be looking at potentially, you know, it's a smaller pocket of students. It's not all students. But the reason behind this measure is because we want to make sure that we are getting our kiddos reading. It's so important. And so, but yeah, Mr. Ryan, I would say, yes, we are doing the work, and our kindergarten teachers are doing a fabulous job. It just is a little more difficult when some of our kiddos are coming without some of those foundational skills coming into kindergarten.
And Mark, this is a county-wide issue. It's a topic even with the SUPs with many of our Stark County schools, that the amount of students not going to preschool, either because families just don't have the means or don't necessarily have the right knowledge of that's important for their kids to go to preschool for those foundational skills that they need to step into a kindergarten classroom, is growing at a much larger or higher proportion than we ever expected. And so we're getting kindergartners now that they almost, you know, some of them need 2 years of kindergarten to be prepared to go to first grade. So it's a conversation now of how do we target that population a little bit earlier.
Dan, do we need to look at seriously expanding our pre-K program?
We've looked at that. It is incredibly expensive. You know, we right now run 2 preschools through the county. I don't want to speak but we run 2 preschools through the county, and the price tag for that alone is incredible.
How many are enrolled?
So we have 4 classes. We have 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. classes. I believe we have about 60 students total in there. Of those last year, about 20, because it's a 3, 4, and 5-year-old.
And it's all Marlington.
They're all Marlington kids. But we have 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. So last year, 20 to 22 of those students transitioned into kindergarten. So we have a wait list. We've had a wait list every year. I know Mr. Evanich, Mr. Swisher, and I have looked into like what would the financials look like to house additional preschools, because that would benefit us. It would very much benefit us, but financially, the price tag on that, I don't know specifics. I can't remember what we,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's over 600,000 just for related services for our
Yeah,
preschool
it's just
program now.
Preschool's not, you don't make money in preschool. You're really doing it for the betterment of the students when they hit the age 5. So there's not really a clear answer there. It's just where you want to balance, where your balance sheet sits, and what I guess where we drive from administration, what we ask the board is what we would consider very important to our district at this time. And just now, within the data within this year, we're starting to really see more of that larger gap. So we really can't say for sure if we say, hey, more preschool would be better or not. We're really going to look at it this year and try to come back with a solution to say, hey, this is what we need to do. And I don't want to just like jump the gun, and neither would Renee, and say, hey, yes, if we added another preschool, that's going to help with our kindergarten. I can't say that for sure.
Right.
It's just, I see it in conversations when I talk to curriculum directors and we talk to superintendents that have similar makeups to our district, that we have many young students coming in that are just lacking skills that they should have. So these teachers have to spend a lot of time on skills that in preschool they would have, and they're simple skills like how to line up or how to
Social skills.
Social skills,
Very minimal.
how to sit still or sit at a table, or where to do, or how to hold a pencil, or just how to have a conversation, eye contact, various little things that we take for granted maybe that we have with our kids that take time, and when you do that, that's taking away from some of the instructional time that these teachers have with that, and how to give that, which is also in turn causes behaviors or disruptions. So there's just, it's hard to pinpoint one specific thing, but it's definitely on our radar because we do talk about it. It's just we don't have a good answer of how to make it right now.
Well, and pre-K is not compulsory. It's
Correct.
compulsory, so it's up to the parents to do that.
Sure.
I don't want to, it's interesting data. I don't want to downplay it at all. I'm just thinking, we're a rural district. You go to the more suburban city districts, it's like probably 90-some% pre-K participation.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, we do have some places in the area. I think part of the other work on behalf of the district that Mr. Evanich, Mr. Swisher, and I have talked about is just kind of coming together with those local preschools and daycares and starting to talk through some alignment of curriculum resources that align with things that we're doing here at the school, so that we can get some of those ideas and procedures and stuff in place for even the places where our kiddos are going.
Do we have a breakdown of, the students that were previously off track? What percentage of those students were in preschool versus not?
We don't. We
So-
don't.
Is there any way to get a definitive measure of that?
Of how many were in preschool?
Yeah.
So we're going to start asking that on when students register into kindergarten, because that's something that we keep talking about. And I don't know if we added it this year or not. I
don't
can't
know either,
remember.
but that was a
But-
conversation
But Josh,
about
we've been
they
talking
haven't.
about that because we want to know.
Yeah, what impact?
The state is actually has some things in place where they're saying that they want that data as well, because that birth to age 5 is very important as well. And so they're looking at how can we, kind of ask those questions. But that's our K-3 literacy. Good questions, you guys. Our last part, this was that report-only piece, that college, career, workforce, and military readiness. So this one is really how well are we preparing our students for all future opportunities. And so when we look here, it looks at our 4-year graduation cohort and divided by the number of students, and we're at a 72.3% there. Sorry. This thing is sticking. I don't know why it won't go. But it provides how well our schools and districts are preparing students for those different pathways of college and career success. So it goes into how many of our students take the ACT, how many are taking CCP courses, how many are in a career tech pathway. So all of the things that we are currently reporting on, Those are now going to be into our school report card starting next year.
Do they take in consideration, is there any, I don't want to say penalty, but do they weight college versus, say, military
No.
readiness versus workforce? They
No.
weight those?
They're equally weighted. Because the goal, the shift over the past several years has been, we just want our kids to be prepared for whether it be enlisting, being employed, enlisted, enrolled, any of those things outside of once they graduate from high school. So, years ago, it used to be the college path. Now there's multiple pathways, and I think that's a great thing that the state is moving towards. We want to make sure that they are ready for whichever route they go.
And
Back
it's,
to the gifted information. I think you went through that.
and Mark, it's interesting on this because they haven't done it. This is another, I want to somewhat a little bit of an unfunded mandate because it used to be in special ed world that we'd have to track this after they graduate once every 3 years. We kind of would get hit into a cycle. Well, now they decided that why don't we do this for all students every year? So it isn't just about, when they say college, career, workforce, military ready, it's really about us as a district. We have to follow up with these students after they graduate.
Do they
Yeah.
finish school,
Submit
finish
that,
college?
and submit that data to be able to help for this kind of stuff that goes in. So it's just, there's a lot of legwork that goes in, to be shockingly, to get a lot of the data pieces they get for the schools to have this, so.
Yes, and once again, that's on our school counselors, our high school principal, a lot of that data tracking that they're responsible for doing. So you wanted me to go back to gifted?
Yeah.
So this is our gifted as part of the gap closing component. So when we're looking here, and I apologize, I skipped right through this. So our value added rating was 3 stars for our gifted students, and we met that value added index. Our performance index was that 117.6. So we did not meet that performance. So that was straight up, how did gifted students perform on the state test? So we met the growth, we grew them, but we didn't meet the performance index. And then our total points was 84. If you look at that gifted identification and services met, I'm going to do a long story short here because it's very confusing, okay? So I don't know that we will ever meet that, because part of that is, are we identifying enough subgroups in gifted? We don't have a lot of subgroups. So smaller districts, I know, I trust me, I'm not quiet. I voice this at our curriculum directors meetings, when our state folks are in presenting. It is, to me, an unfair component, because if you only have the students that you have, right? And so you saw when we looked at those subgroups, we only have so many subgroups. So we aren't, and then we have certain criteria that we use to identify students as gifted, and you have to meet those criteria in order to be identified. And if we don't have additional subgroups, then
That's beyond the school's control.
correct. And that has been the argument for districts our size. So that's why I don't know that we will ever see a net on there.
And that has been an ongoing conversation
Yes.
since I've been here with the county coordinators that we partner with. They've always said it's very difficult for a district like Marlington to reach that. And it's sometimes hard to explain, but if it needs more detail, it's more or less, we bring in a gifted consultant from the county, and they kind of break it down,
Yes.
how that looks and down that aspect of it.
But, and I will tell you, you all know me well enough, I am not very quiet, so I definitely voice my opinion when it comes to that, because I am all for holding us accountable, but I think sometimes when, we only have students that we have, we are at a disadvantage when it comes to that measure compared to other districts, larger districts, more diverse districts, that can receive that component. And then I just wanted to show you this college and workforce. See, these are all the different things that they're measuring. Number of honors diplomas, a dual enrollment credit, so meaning like we're getting credit in high school and with college. Our military enlistment, CTE technical assessments. So those are like when we're taking the web exam. Our Ohio Means Job Readiness Seal. So how many of our kids are getting that seal on their diploma? So there's lots of different ways in which to be able to come here, or make this measure.
And there will be larger schools that will have, to be able to do, if you look at those 11 different things, that they have the ability to do those, like the International Baccalaureate, or they do the ACT and the SAT. They do different things that they have that ability to do that. So they were able to put students into those measures, which is going to bring their overall measure up, where in smaller districts as a whole are going to be able to only meet specific needs. And then so you're just going to have a harder time meeting maybe some of as high as the measure as you can, just because we can't do all the different things that they can do.
Yep. And if you look, this will show you some of the different post-high school pathways. So this is based upon that student follow-up that Dan was talking about. So the percentage of students enrolled in post-secondary education, enrolled in a 2-year post-secondary institute, enrolled in 4 years, enrolled in Ohio Tech School, enrolled in post-secondary institution, enrolled in an apprenticeship or an other job training program, those that are gainfully employed, military enlistment. So you will see, here's our state average here for gainfully employed, and our kiddos are all the way over at like 83.1%. So our kids are working when they graduate.
But that's only collected every 3 years currently?
No, we
It's
do it
every year.
now.
Every year.
So I said we're the Department of Education and Workforce, we're becoming very data rich. It's just to the point where we have so much data, it's very hard in districts our size to be able to continue to break that data down. We have a lot of it.
And just submit it. I mean, there's a lot of
time that goes in behind the scenes to get this
You
right.
literally have to contact the students?
Correct.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So we graduated last year,
That's how long?
167 or 169 students. We will have to reach out to also 167, 169 students and find out what's going on.
So wherever if they were going to college, you have to follow that for 4
We're
years?
going to reach out to them through social media, phone call, email, one way or another, and we need to get back to them.
Do you get a
and
good
do this.
response rate?
Wow.
Yes.
We're very, work hard before they leave and graduate as part of their graduation plan is how do we reach out to you? How are we going to be able to contact you? Those types of things.
So is that just based off of their response, or do
Yes.
they have to provide any confirmation? So the kids could be like, I'm going to college, and they're not, and then it's going to
Kids are
be.
truthful.
This is
Come
based off their response.
Not going to lie about it.
I'm just wondering.
There's several, I mean, there are lots of different questions.
Yes, there's a lot of
Yeah,
questions.
it's
It
not
kind
just
of
one,
weeds
but
through
you're
that.
Yes, yeah, because there's lots of different parts to that survey. It's a survey, and so that usually weeds itself out if they're really not going, so. That's the overview, right? Like I said, each district has their own building level report card, and there are lots of celebrations within each of our individual building report cards.
What was that chronic absenteeism? Did I see 18.3%?
That's what we wanted.
One.
Nope.
Ours is at 20. We want it to be below 18.3.
So a fifth of our students are chronically absent.
Yes.
Now that's for any reason. So,
That's for
for
any
example,
reason.
Mark,
So if it's an excused
if you
absence.
choose to take your family on vacation for 2 weeks, knowing that they're going to get their work and turned in,
Yeah, Mark.
then that would
That's right,
count.
he's directing.
That would count that way. I meant in general. It doesn't matter. Anybody. I was not meaning implying anything there. If Josh would do it or myself, any of us would choose to take our kids on vacation, it does
Still
not matter.
graduate at the top.
So, but it would count towards our chronic absenteeism.
Correct.
So if my sons would miss school for 2 weeks because
Right.
we had an educational vacation that they were going to go do something and learn, it still counts towards our.
It does.
They would be chronic absent.
Because remember, like the state says, and I agree, like
It
if
should
a
only count
student's
if they
not
fall behind.
there, they're not learning the content, right?
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, if you are missing 10% or more of the school day or school year, you are considered to be chronically absent.
And I wonder how much of that is high school, because I know my kids would always wait, they're seniors, they're not coming in till like third, fourth period, so.
Well, we actually
How
have
does
to
that-
physically, it goes by hours and minutes. So we look at
So that could
what that
count
is,
against
but
it, too.
now it depends on how it's coded. So if they are in a CCP, then they're coded as out. It does not affect the
Yeah.
chronic absenteeism. So it's very important that we look at every individual student, really specifically at high school, and make sure that they're coded by period correctly. So
We've been very intentional with cleaning up our EMIS reporting and how we are coding and making sure that they're being coded correctly. I'll give you an example. Like Mrs. Weber over at Lexington, they're down to like 8% chronic absenteeism. They've been very intentional with making connections with kids and making sure that all kids are connected through some sort of activity. Our high school, I can give a specific example where they do an activity where they put every kid's name, 9 through 12, up on a board, and teachers write their name next to kids that they have connections with. And then we're very intentional with making connections with kids that maybe don't have somebody next to them. Reason why is when kids feel more connected, they're more inclined to come to school, right? So,
How much do you get penalized for that on the report card?
it's part of those 6 components.
Oh, okay.
So it's part of the 6 components that make up our gap closing. So, and if you remember, our gap closing,
So that was 18% was the goal last year. I think this
We were at
year.
20.
This year, I think is at 16.
Correct. It goes down every
They
year.
just keep lowering it.
Uh-huh.
So that's where we gotta
Yes.
So tardies,
mindful.
going to the dentist, all of that.
Correct.
All effects. It doesn't matter. Even with the medical excuse, you're turning it in. Your kid has a surgery, an appendicitis, a broken leg or hip, or they can't, and they actually, it's all good reasons, and they're learning still. The state does not care. That counts as towards their chronic absenteeism.
Wanted to see if I could, yeah, so yep. So 18.3% was the goal for last year. So the majority of our buildings met that goal. But it could,
Is the high school the biggest one? Yeah.
so, but that's how it works, right? With that, when you're looking from a district view, you could have multiple places that are meeting the mark and maybe one place that missed it, and then it sets it off for the district. So, yep. Good question.
And 20% is really good. I mean,
Say that again?
20%.
It is.
When you look at the county, we're doing a really good job. I mean, we have districts in the county that are 50%.
How much?
50.
50.
Jeez.
I mean, a lot of that's out of the district's control too. I mean, it can have to
Absolutely.
do with their family life.
I mean,
at
we
home
can,
and-
we can only, that's what, like Ms. Kaylee said, we can only do what we can do when the kids are with us. So, the relationships and the connections is the best we can do. It's, if you ask Mr. Farrell sitting back there with, the new canine companion, just the having a second dog in the building has brought in more students just because they don't want to miss school because they want to see the puppy.
Right. But even just
Or-
being intentional with, like, you can walk in the hallway, when you leave today, if you go by the main office, you'll see a big poster. They are having a competition between 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th grade students as who has the best attendance percentage for the month. And then there's an incentive, for the students, whichever grade level gets the best attendance for the month. So just being intentional behind that work as well. Just trying to make sure we get kids here, and then being proactive with conversations with parents. If we know that we have kiddos that typically miss a lot, getting on the phone in September and calling those families and seeing, are there any barriers that are preventing the kids from getting to school? And trying to help our family support specialists, helping, if there are those barriers, helping to break those barriers down. Yep. Great. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Public participation.
Oh, suspicion? Oops, sorry.
Yes. Ms. Vicky Brock, you have 3 minutes to address the board.
I'm gonna put you on the podium so they can hear you.
Don't mind my
I can pass them down for you.
little whiteout on their corrections. We made a revision after I printed them. I had went to a local school district within our borders, and they had a rolling flag and everything that came down when they did the national anthem. Anytime they do any military anything. And it's my goal to see that in this school and my alumni school in Green. So I had to put it on my Facebook. I was going to go on my own, do the funding, get donations, and the cross-country coach had come to me, and she wanted to make it a cross-country event. I'm fine with that. It's in honor of Ashley White, which I highly respect that. I'm a retired veteran myself, 27 years military, but to me, this is just something that's heavily on my heart that I would really love to see. So really, Coach Graham was more concerned of you know, me doing it on my own and then you guys turning down a donation, which I don't think that would even be an issue. I did get with Mr. Swisher and the athletic director. We did go through the building. They have, you know, a couple places where they want to see it done. There's a couple things Mr. Swisher has to do on installation. But other than that, there would be no funding through the school district if we would raise it, and it would go through the boosters.
Wonderful.
And I'll send you guys the picture of that, and then, I don't know, have you seen them? Any of you guys seen the rolling flag? Well, then I'll send you, it's Waterloo District, where I actually come from. My son now goes to Marlington. He actually runs on the cross-country team. But I'll send you guys the picture of that, and then you guys can see what it is, and I'll give you guys the revised, that'll be the flyer that we put out to the community for, and, you know, our goal is to do a donation, or the donation through the community, and then also do a fundraiser. We're not quite sure yet what the fundraiser is going to be. I'm working with Coach Graham and Mr. Ryan's wife. Put that out there.
So I think you said the total cost was probably around $6,000?
$6,700.
Yes.
And we have to install it, and I'll send you guys the installation of it as well. It's fairly easy, and I know we have plenty of people within the community that can. The only equipment you would need would be a scissor lift, but I don't even know if we would need a scissor lift.
We have a
with our-
scissor lift.
Okay, well, see, but our ceilings aren't crazy high in the gym, so.
What's your timeline for getting this done?
I don't have a timeline. I mean, I would love to jump into the fundraiser, get it done, get it purchased, donated, and put up. I mean, when I seen that come down at Wireless School, man, it was very humbling, very, you know, I've dedicated my life to the military, as you all know, with Ashley White as well.
I think based on the size of the flag that she showed us, it's
It's a
probably,
12 by 8.
yeah, so it's almost the width of the gym floor.
Wow.
Not the length, but the width.
Okay.
And when I send the picture, it'll be when you're looking at
Well,
the,
about half, I guess.
when you're looking at this is the replica of the flag. On the top, it'll be donated by the Marlington Cross Country Team in honor of First Lieutenant Ashley White. And then on the bottom, it'll say Land of the Brave and of the Free. So that'll be actually posted up on. What I didn't want to do is get into a battle of who donated. I didn't want to go to all the different sports and communities and businesses, and then we have a battle of naming rights.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
That's all I have. I mean, if you guys oppose, then, but, yeah. So then I will continue to work with Mr. Swisher and keep you updated
Yeah.
on.
Thank you.
I do appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no old business?
Yes, so tonight we have no old business. We also have no new business tonight. We're just going to move right into the treasurer's agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that a recommendation that the Board of Education approve the minutes from the September 25th regular meeting.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Next item is approval of the financial reports. I would like to recommend that the board approve the financial reports for September 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I'd like to share a couple quick highlights, just the basics here. At the end of September, we had a cash balance of $9,255,972.04 in the general fund. Permanent improvement, that number, the cash balance is $1,071.42. And in the capital projects fund, the cash balance at the end of the month was $441,174.99. All funds combined, we finished the month with a balance of $11,597,016 even. During September, we also processed the checks. You've each been provided a list of the issued checks, totaling $512,708.94 cents paid this month. And those are the 3 reports we have for approval. If you have any questions regarding the check listing, please let me know.
Griner Interiors, is that for the new?
It's for the grant for the CTE room, yes.
Yes.
Any questions?
What is the underground storage tank fund for?
That fund was established, we were required to establish that in years past. I don't know the time frame of it, but that was established to pay for any leakage that could occur.
Is that for the tank we removed?
Yes.
Do we need that fund anymore?
I don't believe so. I'm not sure the time frame as far as when we'd get any findings as far as inspection, but it's been clear so far, so I don't think there's going to be any issue. I'll have to research and find out if we can eliminate that fund, and if so, get approval from the court to do so, transfer that money out. But that was the intent of that, if I'm not mistaken.
Didn't the state mandate that, or the county or something?
Yeah, I believe it was required for anyone with underground storage tanks. Yeah, I'm glad you asked, Josh. We'll have to find out for sure if we're completely done as far as it being signed off as no leakage or not.
Okay.
The construction people indicated they didn't see anything of concern, but material was sent for testing.
Karen, you good?
Okay, yeah, I think we're good. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Okay, we're on to section E.
Wait, I have one more. Mr.
Right.
Kathy, on that, did you want to,
No,
okay.
there's nothing on there.
Not on here.
Oh, my mistake.
What's not on there?
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
Will that be next month?
The yes,
Yeah.
and Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Sorry for that
That's okay.
bobble there.
Are we good?
Okay, we're good.
All right.
Okay, moving on to section E, personnel. If the board is okay, I will be consenting to section of personnel. I will read through it for the consent section for personnel.
You do the motion first? Or you read it through?
I'm just going to read through
Okay.
them. So we'll make sure if the board had anything pulled out, they just need to let me know.
Okay.
We just have a classified retirement. We have one. We have a classified resignation. We have one. We have a classified hire. We have one. We have some supplementals to add. We're going into the winter sports season, so we're just getting our supplementals cleaned up for there. We have extended days for Nick based on the way his contract's designed for each year. And we have a supplemental pay correction, just one from step 1 to step 2. And that's it for personnel.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
So for upcoming events, obviously we have Halloween coming up. We do have senior night this Friday, so it's tomorrow. So if the board can make that, be there around 6:15. I have on there, if you see November, we have upcoming work sessions. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to take a look at your calendar. We're getting into November, so we typically, I recommend that Bob and I would like to have a work session with the board to review the finances. Obviously, we have this 5-year forecast. We ask for approval at the November board meeting. We typically try to do a meeting in advance of the board meeting to kind of have a discussion with about the 5-year forecast.
So our board meeting would be the 21st.
Our board meeting is scheduled for the 21st of November. I did not know if it was possible to go the Thursday before on the 14th, if that would be possible to do a 5 o'clock work session. There's another, we have to, besides review the 5-year forecast, I also have to have the board, you have to watch a video from the auditor of the state and they have to sign off that you watched it. So all public employees, so it's every employee in our district, including the Board of Education, has to watch the Auditor of State's video. It's a 7-minute video. You don't have to take a test, but you do have to watch.
What happens if we don't?
You're kicked off.
That's a great question.
Get on Dave's
I believe that would be a finding on our audit report.
No.
Yeah.
Literally, they're going to be checking
Would
it,
it
is what
really?
we've heard.
Was it really? Yes, so basically what we're told is, in layman's terms, that, you know, this is a requirement by the state of Ohio, our auditor, and everybody that basically from a school district standpoint, if we give you a W-2, you need to make sure that you have watched his 7-minute video for fraud reporting.
So that'll be part of the work session?
That would be part of the work session,
We can
yes.
do that.
So what, you're looking at the 14th or the 21st?
The 21st is our board meeting.
Okay,
I'm
I
looking
can't
at
do the 14th.
You can't do the 14th, okay. Can you do the 13th?
Well, that's the football banquet.
I understand that.
And that's
And
just right
skip
after.
the football banquet.
It's right after OSBA.
Well, that's true, and we're coming back from OSBA.
I mean, it's fine to get, 14th is fine with me, but that's,
Can you do the
I mean,
Monday, the 18th?
I could do
the
Monday.
18th, yeah.
That would be better.
That would be better. Okay.
What time?
5 o'clock, okay?
5
He
o'clock
doesn't
on the
understand minor calendar.
Hang on. I had,
Josh, that work for
I
you?
had the wrong day.
It'd be like, what did you say, 5 o'clock?
Does 5 o'clock work okay? So we're typically
Yeah.
done for work sessions.
On the 18th,
Yeah.
Monday, November 18th.
I think I'm okay with that.
So that work session will entail, obviously, the video from the auditor of the state to be compliant. And then we would also review the 5-year forecast.
She's good, yeah.
I'm good on the 18th.
November
Would there be any other items that you guys would like to discuss in that work session? Because we need to be specific when we post the work
Chronic
session.
absenteeism, I think we should talk about that.
You let me know, and I will happily put that on.
No family vacations any longer.
We never took action on whether we were going to join the Ohio E&A group.
If you
That
would
might
like
be
to have that
something-
discussion at the work session, that would be a good time to
What
have
is
a
that?
public
At
discussion.
Ohio E&A, we talked about
Anti-voucher
possibly
emails.
Oh,
joining it.
I will get with Karen, find out that we want to add that to the work session.
Thank
No
still
problem.
lively discussion.
Lively. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so November 18th at 5 PM will be that work session.
Yes, we
Okay.
also have conferences coming up on the 7th. We have Veterans Day Assembly at the high school. If you'd like to join us, Mr. Fairwood, does that start at the high school? 8 a.m.? So, we also we do a nice, we get the kids down, it's a nice presentation. November 11th, Staff PD Day, and November 12th is conferences. And we'll be heading into the holidays here. So,
Oh,
all right.
All right.
Amazon delivery
The
truck.
next Board of Education meeting is November 21st at 6 PM here in the high school DLZ. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.